Democratic Congressman Josh Gottheimer represents part of that New Jersey district and won re-election despite Trump's gains. He serves on the Intelligence Committee as well. Congressman, it's great to see you. Congratulations on your re-election.
Thanks for having me.
Well, as Tip O'Neill said famously, all politics is local, and you obviously have a lot of local support in your district. So you represent a swing district, though. Were you surprised by Donald Trump's gains in a blue state like New Jersey?
Of course, obviously a tough night, but listen, I was very grateful for the huge support that my constituents came out for me for. Looks like Kamala Harris will win my district by about a point, and we won it by 12, and so incredibly grateful for the outpouring of support. And listen, these numbers are surprising, but our focus and what I've focused on, and since I ran in 2016, I haven't shifted. We've got to make sure we do everything we can. And as my lawn signs say, lower taxes, Jersey values. We got to keep life affordable for folks and let them know that we're the party that focuses on helping hardworking middle-class families with everything from child care costs to fighting to get our taxes down, to lower health care costs. And these are the issues that I've talked to a lot of my families about over the years that I represent.
Do you think that if President Biden had dropped out earlier or there had been an open primary, that might have helped? That's something that Nancy Pelosi suggested to the New York Times this weekend.
I mean, I'll leave that to folks like you to armchair. All I know is, what I really believe and what I talk to folks about resonates, which is you got to fight for what I call Jersey values, standing strong for reproductive freedom and clean air and clean water, and doing everything we can to also get their costs down and make life more affordable for them, whether you're talking about lower taxes or lower grocery prices or, of course, lower child care costs. Jersey has expensive child care costs, and one of the things I've been very focused on is and proud to accomplish is expanding the child tax credit and doing things like that show you, that we look out for people's pocketbooks.
As a member of the Problem Solvers Caucus, what changes do you want to see from the Democratic Party, assuming that it's going to continue in the minority, depending on what happens in California?
Well, I'm still holding out hope for California, but regardless, it's going to be a very narrowly divided Congress, right? We know that, and whether they have a few seats heads or we have a few seats ahead, what will need to happen is we're going to have to work together to govern in the House. And if you look at this past Congress, every major piece of legislation, we're talking about budgets or foreign aid, all came together through Democrats and Republicans sitting down at the table and working it out together. And in the Problem Solvers Caucus, Democrats and Republicans are going to have to sit together and work together again to make sure we govern the country. And that's our job, right? To make sure we go get things done for them. We fight for folks, and we go to Washington willing to work together and put the country first. I think that's what people really want us to do.
Well, one of the committees that has always tried to work together, it didn't for a while during the first Trump years, is the Intelligence Committee. And certainly on the Senate side, they've been working very closely together in a real partnership. Marco Rubio, Mark Warner, a Democrat. What are your concerns about the Intelligence Committee and about intelligence agencies, depending on who gets appointed head of CIA and head of DNI?
Well, I'm sure you'd agree there should be nothing partisan about our intelligence community, and we've got the best men and women protecting us at home and around the world, and I'm very grateful for their service. And our committee, by the way, is there's when it's all underground and there's no cameras, and what happens is we always put the country first. And people work together, Democrats, Republicans, every day.
There was a time when Devin Nunes was the ranking when it was not that way.
Yeah, before I was not. Oh, yes. I was not on the
and he's one of the potential appointees to one of these positions, not the head position.
I just hope in the end. Yeah, listen, I hope in the end, as I'm sure you'd agree, and I know you do, that we cannot allow the intelligence community or any of these committees to become places for partisanship. We've got to protect our national security and our interests in the world, and we do that every day on the committee, and so does the intelligence community, the best people protecting us, and I'm very grateful for their service, and we've got to make sure that we don't let partisanship creep back into any pocket of that.
And there's supposed to be checks and balances. That was certainly what the founders imagined. What if, and I know it's not your body, but what if the Senate gives up control over confirmations, as was suggested?
Well, you just pointed it out, right? There's got to be checks and balances. And Article 1, I believe strongly in that in the Constitution, that we have our responsibility. By the way, the same thing with oversight over the intelligence community. It's our responsibility on the Intelligence Committee. These are all things that, the checks and balances that our founders, that all of our framers put in place are essential to making sure that we keep our country running and protected and put our freedom and democracy always first above any kind of partisanship. And so, yes, there'll be many of us who stand strong, focused on that and watching it carefully in the coming weeks and months.